On this week's Fast TV, we are in Shetland visiting two inspirational young farmers, Nia Hunter and Erin Gibson. And we get a behind-the-scenes visit to Shetland Livestock Marketing Group's auction mart on a busy sale day, along with a tour of Shetland's only abattoir facility. In 2022, Nia Hunter and her friends, Erin Ridland and Amy Gifford, won the National Junior Stock Judging Competition at the Royal Highland Show, the same year that Shetland Young Farmers Club won Club of the Year. Shetland has a thriving population of young farmers and crofters who are passionate about supporting Shetland's agricultural sector and rural community. Shetland Livestock Marketing Group is proud of their young workforce. The average age of employees working in the abattoir is 22, and the average age of those working in the auction mart is 30.
Young Farmers Group was set up, but it's not only young farmers, it's youngins that's interested in it, that maybe doesn't have a craft or a farm or that. So it's bringing young folk together that can pass the time of day, have the social evenings, have the judging competitions, and it's been a big asset to Shetland, and it's certainly made agriculture cool.
Agriculture is something that I've always wanted to do ever since I was pretty. Weekends or nights I was always out helping just whenever I could. A lot of businesses in Shetland are too small to afford an additional wage. So it pushed me to go out and get more experience within the industry, and I'm grateful for that because I don't think I ever would have started to work in the abattoir if I could have just laid back and worked at home on the family farm. So yeah, it's brilliant. Hello, my name is Nia Hunter. I'm 19 years old from Shetland, and I've just finished doing an apprenticeship through our family beef and sheep farm, A&D Hunter. During this I also worked weekends as a relief milker on Quendell Farm, and I also work at the local abattoir and the mart. In March I attended the Lantra Albus Awards, and I managed to pick up a few awards just through doing my apprenticeship and attending college. So I was named Agriculture Learner of the Year, Modern Apprentice of the Year. I received the Caris Award, and I was also the overall winner of the Albus, which was an absolutely brilliant feeling, and I'm still shocked about it till this day. So I attended SRUC Barony on block release, and it was an amazing experience. Going away south wasn't something that I wanted to really do full time, so being able to do the apprenticeship I was truly grateful for, because it allowed me to go for short periods at the time, and I'm so glad I did because I brought back a lot of new techniques and new ways of doing things, and we've applied it to some of the things we're doing at home, and it's made things better and more efficient for us. So through my apprenticeship, I did it through A&D Hunter, which is our family farm. I worked part-time doing that and went out and worked for other agriculture businesses across Shetland, and I would go to college for a week every month from October to sort of February time. And at college we did a mixture of theory and practical based learning. We got to go out on farms and hear from people about what they're doing and how their system works, and it was really inspiring getting to hear from everybody, and it's given me new ideas to bring home to apply to what we're doing here. It's really rewarding getting to be able to see your animals' lives right from the very start to the very end, ensuring they've got the best life possible through every stage. It's also rewarding getting to supply the local butchers and people with their own meat, to be a part of their hard work paying off. Working part-time on the family farm is something I'm glad I did, because it did push me to go out and get new experience. It's also made me gain a lot of confidence working at the marts and the abattoir among local crofters and farmers, and kind of built my profile in the community. So yeah. It's certainly unusual at the abattoir to have such a young workforce working there, but with the nationwide shortage of workers in the abattoir, I'm proud that we're pulling together and keeping our local abattoir going. Hopefully in the future I'll have land of my own and stock of my own. I can bring the land out to the best of its ability and produce good quality stock and take all the experience back from all the different jobs I'm doing and apply it to what I'm doing, especially going away to college and seeing new techniques and new ways of doing things, and also embracing new technology, which I think in the farming community sometimes people struggle with. They just like to follow tradition, but I think it's important for the young workforce to try new things and not be scared of failing, because that's the only way you learn at the end of the day. Yeah, I think it's easy for just to stick back and keep doing what's been done in the past, but going away to college and learning about the different techniques people's using, I think it's definitely important to come home to Shetland and apply that to what you're doing.
Nia is proud to be a young woman in agriculture, representing the talents and enthusiasm of her and her peers on Shetland.
I've personally never felt a difference being a woman in agriculture. I've never felt any less as the boys that I work with. In the marts and the abattoir, there's not many women working, so I feel proud that I'm doing it. But also, I think it's definitely moving forward, as I've certainly felt no difference to my male peers that I'm working with. I think if you don't act as though there's a difference, then you don't notice there being a difference. And they're the same. They just see me as a workmate. They don't see me as any less as what they're doing, so it's brilliant. Yeah, so I'm the vice chairperson of Shetland Young Farmers, and I'm really proud of how much the club's come on this past few years. I've been in it since it started up when I was 15, and every year I've been able to watch it grow and been able to put my ideas and input in to hold new events, and it's just been brilliant to get younger folk especially involved, and just having that gap that we were missing as young folk, getting like-minded people together and having a fun really at the end of the day. In 2022, me, Erin Ridland and Amy Gifford, my fellow club members, competed in the junior stock judging at the Royal Highland Show, and we managed to come out on top and win, which was absolutely amazing. It was such a shock, but I'm glad that our knowledge of stock and hard work training paid off. We also managed to win Club of the Year that year, which was brilliant as well, and has certainly put our club on the map for years to come competing. It's important that young like-minded folk can get together in Shetland, because the crofting community is really big in Shetland, so just a chance to get together and mingle and have a fun. You've always got somebody to phone if you're stuck or needing a hand, so yeah, it's brilliant. I'm really grateful for the club. Yeah, so I was away a couple of weeks ago at the Food and Drink Excellence Awards. After my success at the Lantra Awards, I've been working with Lantra as an industry champion. It's an initiative they have just to kind of promote land-based industries and aquaculture to the younger generation. So the coordinator, Annabelle Brown, put me forward for the Young Talent Award at the Scottish Food and Drink Excellence Awards, and I was named as a finalist in July, which I was really shocked about, but so grateful. And we attended the awards night earlier in September, and I was named the winner, which was an amazing experience, and it certainly still hasn't sunk in yet, the shock I felt, but no, it was really good. And I'm really happy that my hard work through college and just my passion for working in agriculture is noted and recognised, so it's brilliant.
So I am Erin Gibson, current Shetland Young Farmers Chair. I have always grown up on a croft. We have about 180 sheep and 8 beef coos. So I work full-time in the education sector. I work in a council nursery, so my crofting work is just part-time, as you say, when I'm home about. So I feel it's really important to have the need to have a job alongside crofting, because the crofting side of it it's not a money making, it's not a profit making business, I would say. It is just a hobby and an interest that I feel is important to kind of carry on in generations to come. So the current number of members of Shetland Young Farmers is about 44 members this year. We only have one club in Shetland. The members come from all ends of Shetland. We tend to try and have most of our meetings kind of in a central position to make it easier for our members to access meetings, and we always offer lifts to other junior members so that it's easier for them to attend and they don't have to rely on their parents all the time. Kind of, yeah, it makes it more inclusive and kind of joins the link better between the senior members and the junior ones to kind of get them more involved. So we try and offer a whole wide range of activities and meetings just to cater for everybody. We usually try and do some stock judging as well as some farm tours, but we also do some fun activities like quizzes, and we've got a car treasure hunt coming up. So we all meet up and divide into teams and then go into various cars. So it kind of brings everybody together that you might not necessarily have spoken with before, but you're kind of in your car, so you've got this instructions to follow, and it's great fun. And we do quiz nights and sports nights and pool and darts, so it covers a wide range and it suits our body, so it's good. It's really important to have these events so that it kind of provides a social atmosphere, because farming and crofting can be quite a lonely, like a lone working environment, and especially during winter there's such dark nights. It's good to kind of get folk out there and socialising and speaking to other folk, like-minded folk, that you can just have a laugh with. We've also covered some training opportunities which have included vet talks, farm safety and mental health. Out with my work and croft, well, included in the crofting, I am interested in, I've got a dog that I'm training, and it's actually a pup that came from Nia Hunter, and she is the vice to my chair currently, and actually become a really good pal through Young Farmers. So when her dog had puppies, then I was like, well, I want one. So I got one of her puppies and have spent a lot of time training her up. She's called Maeve, and she's fairly coming on, just a slow progress when I am working nearly full time and obviously have more than just training on the croft to do, as well as other Young Farmer work, but we're getting there. So I would say in Young Farmers it's pretty evenly split between kind of farming backgrounds and kind of just rural interest really, which I think is important because we are such a rural community. It's good to kind of educate the folk that maybe doesn't ken so much and keep the ones that is interested and kind of seeing that social side of it. Some of the challenges that young folk do face though is that if you don't kind of grow up on a croft or on a farm, then you can easily struggle to find land to kind of start up a business as such. There's quite a few young folk I know that are doing the apprenticeship in agriculture, which is so good to see. So last year, 2022, Shetland Young Farmers qualified for the final 3 of the SAYFC Club of the Year, and we ended up winning the competition, which was so good, considering we only established as a club in 2019. It was so positive for our members. We were really fortunate to have quite a few members away at the Highland Show that year when it was announced, and the atmosphere was just so unbelievable. We actually were runners-up for the competition the year before, so that made us even more determined to try and win it the next year, which we did, so it's really good. I feel having the club in Shetland is such an important thing because we're such a rural community. Like, sometimes it can feel quite disconnected, and especially like working on a croft or working on a farm, you're quite often working alone, so having that social aspect is so important to go out and meet like-minded folk and just have a laugh, just have some time away from worries at the croft and worrying about the weather and various things. And as well, like during the winter, the nights get so dark so early. Having that support network is so important.
Now then, I'm Lorraine Manson. and I'm the manager of the Shetland Abattoir and the yard supervisor at the Shetland Marts. I've been with SLMG, it'll be 19 years now. I started off at Laxforth Abattoir. I applied for a job as a cleaner and an operative person. But I've never been a person to let the grass grow under my feet. I always look for opportunities and I always think outside the box. And because of starting as the cleaner, I now have found myself in a position that I never dreamt I would ever be in, really. In the agriculture industry, I was born and brought up on a croft in Skeld that was run by my parents. And we were brought up with a great work ethos, which has stood us in good stead. To have the local mart to begin off with in Shetland, we're extremely lucky. Certainly now the costs of shipping and transporting animals, with the income of iBidder, of online bidding due to COVID here in Shetland, has now opened up opportunities. So you get the same guys that's sitting at the marts in Aberdeen that are also buying lambs over here. But the difference is that the producer is paying the costs of shipping their lambs to Aberdeen for the guy to buy them, whereas here they can come and they're bought in the wrong side and the buyer pays it. So basically there's a bit more money in your pocket if you come locally. Here we give a very good service, as in going through the sheep, batching them, teething the ewes and doing our best for our customers. On the abattoir side, low air miles on the animals coming, there's no stress. I have a great belief in the 3 R's, the respect. You respect the person that comes, you respect the animal, and then you respect the carcass. Because if you respect it every way along the way, then you will end up with a good quality carcass at the end of it. The volume through March last year, we had just short of 75,000 sheep, which is the largest number of sheep that we've ever put in through the marts. The cattle, I think, was just around the 700 for 2 sales, which again, when you look at the numbers of cattle in Shetland, is quite a substantial amount. With the abattoir, it was just short of 4,000 sheep and 380 cattle and 365 pigs through the year. So if you add up the two together, you then see that this small establishment is dealing with the biggest part of the animals that are in Shetland. Well, with the abattoir, it fluctuates. If it is the case that the price is high in the ring, you will see less animals being slaughtered. Because very often when the prices are low, then you get people slaughtering animals and they give wine to their aunt and their uncle and their cousin and that. But when they can get a chance to sell them, then they would be sold. So it does fluctuate on what the price is in the ring. There is now the opportunity for crofters and farmers to sell their produce to the butchers, to go into the food chain here in Shetland. It's very good to see that folk can go and buy local beef, local pork and lamb, all at the butcher shops in Larvik and Skalvan. But also there is the folk that's taken the opportunity of slaughtering their animals here, putting them in boxes and then delivering them to folks' doors throughout Shetland, which has become quite popular over the last few years. Again, some of that was because of the lamb prices being low and it was value added to them.
People are a huge asset to any business, and at Shetland Abattoir and Mart, they have a young, hard-working team helping to drive the business forward and support the local crofting community.
In the abattoir, we were coming really to quite a sticky situation that a lot of our older guys was wanting to get up because it's a hard job. Then they were seeing it was coming time to get up. So we actually put an advert in the Shetland Times, but also on Facebook, and we got quite a few applicants. And now we have 4 members of staff. I was working out that their average age will be 22. So we are in an exceptionally lucky situation in the abattoir. They all have their licenses now, all very competent, and it's a good thing to see. With the marts again, we have a lot of young folk. I would think if you look at that, the average age would be somewhere about 30 in the yard staff, all very enthusiastic, all good, all hard working. Again, we're in a very lucky situation. Well, the agricultural industry in Shetland went through a bit of a doldrum, where it wasn't very cool and it wasn't a very in thing to be. But with the introduction of the young farmers a number of years ago, it suddenly became more accepted. And folk wasn't looking down the noses at the guys that wanted to go and work with the sheep and the cattle. And so that, I think, has been one of the main things. The Young Farmers Group was set up, but it's not only young farmers, it's youngins that's interested in it, that maybe doesn't have a craft or a farm or that. So it's bringing young folk together that can pass the time of day, have the social evenings, have the judging competitions, and it's been a big asset to Shetland, and it's certainly made agriculture cool. I think with the establishment of the young farmers and the group that is in that now, which, as I said, are not all young farmers, some are just really interested in the agricultural industry and what we have. I think that over the last few years, that looking at it for a different way of not just producing numbers, they're now starting to look at maybe slightly less numbers, better quality, which is it's keeping the ground right. Because you have to look after Mother Nature and then she'll look after you. And no overgraze, and looking at what to put on the ground, what's the best things to put on the ground. Because with the price of the artificial manure now, they have to look at things differently. Artificial manure certainly had its advantages, but it's gone too far, it's went too far. It's now they're starting to look at things and look more to the natural things like lime and that sort of thing, and less on the ground. And the young folk are all taking this into their stride, because sometimes older folk it's the way it's been done. And yes, tradition is a great thing, but tradition does have an end, because to be an end, there has to be a beginning. And I feel that Shetland is in the situation now with the young folk that's into it. This is a new beginning. And I think that the older folk that has the crafts really would need to look at what is coming up behind them. And I wish that more of them would start subletting, letting young ones have a go. And if they did that, they would be able to work with the young ones and watch what will be their legacy grow before it's too late. Because there are too many folk hanging on to it for too long, and they do not actually see what the next 50 years is going to be. You have to have young folk coming up, and the older folk have to pass on their knowledge. Something that an older person would think is just a piece of nonsense, there's usually a reason why that was put into place, or why they used certain things. And you have to pass on that to keep it going.
Hello, my name is Tim Geraghty. I'm a veterinary investigation officer working at the Craveston Surveillance Centre here in Aberdeenshire. So we'll start with a brief update on blue tongue. I'm sure many farmers will have seen in the farming press and other places that we have detected blue tongue in the south of the country. This is an exotic notifiable disease, but it was not unexpected because it's been moving up through Europe over the summer, and we had anticipated that it would arrive in the UK at some point, and it's actually been detected through our surveillance mechanisms. So it's testament to the surveillance systems we have in the UK agriculture that we've detected it now. What it means for farmers is just a call to be vigilant of for the signs of blue tongue. So we should be familiar as livestock keepers with what clinical signs we'll see. This disease affects both sheep and cattle, and it can cause animals to appear very unwell and have unusual lesions around the nose and mouth. There's a fantastic resource available to us at the Ruminant Health and Welfare Group's website. They've got a blue tongue resource there which will give you more detail on clinical signs and otherwise. It's also a time to reflect on biosecurity. Particularly high-risk animals would be bringing animals from Europe, from areas of Europe that have the disease, and anybody contemplating importing animals at this time, particularly from Europe, should do so with great care and insist that pre-movement testing is completed, but certainly consult with your own vet before doing that. So we've briefly highlighted a couple of the major risks facing flocks and herds at this time. There are others, of course, and if you've not had a catch up with your own vet recently, just on what risks you should be targeting at this time of year, then I would strongly encourage you to do so. Great time of year to get on top of things like Johne's disease and liver fluke if you've not already scheduled that or done that. So just bear these things in mind, and a quick 10-minute chat with your own vet to think through what you could be doing at this time of year would be well worth doing.